in business.
Yay! All right. All right. So thank you for being my first guest.
Of course.
So my YouTube channel is called Join You 18.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you have seen my first video yet.
I did watch it yesterday.
Okay. Thank you for watching. It was like last year I created my Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to do something extra. I realized that once I heard people talking about their stories, and I wanted to be able to help them express their stories, share their stories, but obviously they got to feel comfortable with it, and also
right.
But there's so much power and joy out of their story that others may be going through the same thing, that I hope I could be that person to help them.
I think that's a great thing to do, so that's awesome.
So then I said, let me ask Kelly. All right, so I guess first tell me a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. So my name is Kelly. Davey and I went to grad school together, and that's how I met her. I currently am a social worker at St. Anne Institute in Albany, New York. And what I do there is I work with adolescent females with trauma. So I really enjoy being a social worker. I love my job, even though it's difficult some days. I wake up every day and I'm really excited to go to work. So that's important. Mm-hmm. I feel like everyone should have that in their life. I have a boyfriend. Some things I like to do are going to the gym, snowboarding, hiking, basically anything outdoors. Okay. What else? So many things. I have a cat.
Which cat's name?
Holly. Yes, Holly. I live in Troy, which I really like. I like going out with my friends, and I just overall like helping people, and that's kind of what led me into being a social worker.
Okay. And could you describe what a social worker is? Because I know some people
not know. A social worker can be a lot of things. I think I would mainly describe a social worker as an advocate. Mm-hmm. There's social workers who work in schools, in hospitals, in offices, social workers who have their own private practice, social workers who work in mobile crisis. So the type of social worker I am is technically I'm a school social worker, except I work in an agency that kind of specifically works with females who have gone through developmental trauma, which means basically women who have gone through trauma in their childhood, mm-hmm. And infancy, and that kind of led them to maybe having some difficulties in life. So that's where I work specifically, and basically on my day-to-day basis, I see kids for therapy, I work with their families, I work with outside services to get them mental health counseling, doctor's appointments, things like that. So, and just to, show them that they're capable and they're important and valued, and that even though things have happened to them, bad things have happened to them, mm-hmm. that's not their whole story, that they have a lot more in life to give.
And how does that, hear their story allow you to go to do your job every day? I'm sure once you go home, you're like, phew.
Yeah. Yeah, so hearing all their stories every day and having kids who go into crisis and maybe, don't say the nicest thing to you every day, right. It can be emotionally taxing, mm-hmm. and that's something called burnout that happens a lot of times, which I know you know about. Yes. But basically having a good support system, having different self-care things you can do after you go home from work. So for me is I go to the gym and I hang out with friends, maybe have a glass of wine, and just having people who will listen to you and being able to kind of put it in a box and, go on with your life. don't get me wrong, there are days where, actually a lot of days where I can't really shut it off, and I go home and I think about the girls. Sometimes I have dreams about them. So just being aware of that and taking steps to, seek counseling and things like that if you feel like you're really struggling with bringing work home with you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That is tough. And sometimes we want to leave work at work, but when we're dealing with clients who are dealing with different issues, we take it home with us.
Exactly. It can be very difficult, especially when you're so invested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So you do your work now on the weekends when you de-stress, work. How does that help you? You think help you with who you are and how you help people outside of work?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think if I didn't de-stress on the weekends, I would come to work in a bad mood and potentially not do a very good job at my job. I know a lot of times people with burnout come to work and hate their job and don't really treat their clients the right way, or kind of like slack on their paperwork. So being a new social worker, I've learned a lot about burnout and something called vicarious trauma, which is when, for the viewers, when, you're kind of taking what the client is going through in your own life and you're feeling that. So like if I have a client who has been maybe assaulted by their mom, I would kind of internalize that and it would drain me. So on the weekends when I hang out with friends and go out and have fun, I'm kind of allowing myself to not be a social worker in that moment and just be a person. And that allows me to be there for my client and come back on Monday.
That's a good thing for you and other people who may be going through that same situation, whether if it's in social work or another field.
Oh, for sure. Doctors, or really any field where you work with people, and that's basically all of us.
And just hearing you talk, it's like you found that passion inside of you that social work is the field for you, and you're helping people, whether if it's children or adults, try to find that inner self and trying to help them be able to find that it's not just your situation that creates you, it's more than that.
Right. And I definitely agree with you. I think that things I've gone through in my own personal life, like my parents getting divorced and just struggling with my own mental health issues, definitely kind of led me to the path of social work. But it was also more just like my own passion for like working with people too. So I'm really happy that I found social work because I actually didn't really know it existed.
Wow.
Yeah, I went to undergrad for psychology and I wanted to be a psychologist, but then I learned about social work. And that kind of seemed more of what I was interested in because it's more talking to people and working with people, where psychology sometimes can be more, doing testing and writing and research. And that's not really my style.
Yeah.
So
that's good too. As you go on, you find out what you really like and who you really are.
Definitely. I always believe that even if people don't know exactly what that is yet, that they'll find it if they keep looking at it. Yeah.
So what's your ultimate goal?
So right now, I think my ultimate goal is to just continue being happy as a social worker. I know a lot of times, regardless of where I end up working, and I could see myself at St. Anne's for a while because I really do like it there. I just want to make sure that the passion doesn't go away and that I don't find myself resenting the work or things like that, and that I continue to practice self-care. So I can't really picture a long-term goal other than just staying consistent and stable with my work.
Nice.
Yeah.
So can you share with my viewers and your viewers, because you're part of this too, what self-care is and some things that you could take to help with self-care?
Yeah, definitely. So self-care in a nutshell, and I think self-care has really become like a hot topic in the last like year or two, but
Hmm.
self-care is focusing on yourself and your needs, and allowing yourself space and time to kind of focus on those needs, where most times people don't really think about themselves. So for example, like for my self-care, I can tell when I need self-care when I find myself coming home and kind of being lethargic and,
Hmm.
eating crappy food and just laying around and kind of being miserable. And then I'm like, oh, wow, like I could tell I need to practice more self care. So the things that I kind of had mentioned before about self care that help me is moving my body, which
Hmm.
includes going to the gym, snowboarding, hiking, and being with like minded people who I could talk to. Um, some other things that people do for self care. Some people like to take a bath or listen to music or read a book. Those things I do sometimes, but primarily my self care is working out.
Okay, okay. First of
Yeah,
steam.
burn off that steam. Yes.
Yeah.
And
Nice, nice.
I know I've seen you a few times at the gym. We used to go to the gym.
Uh,
Burning off the steam.
yeah.
Yes.
Yes. And after working out and all that, it feels good. It feels good.
Yeah.
You
I
just
feel
go
so much
home.
better, and I'm glad.
Yes.
You know.
Instead of going home and having so much on your mind, you could just burn off that steam.
Right, exactly. Exactly. Let it all out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Do you have any other goals or like where you see yourself in like 5, 10 years? Do you want to practice or something?
Yeah, I think like looking very long term, I could see myself in a public school,
Hmm.
because right now I don't really get a lot of time off and things like that, just for my own personal life. But it's like a professional goal is I would really like to start presenting, which is something that
You
I'm
said
not presenting.
oh, okay. And
Yes, like at conferences and stuff.
okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's something that I'm not very comfortable doing, public speaking. Like even when we were in class together, we had to go up there. I did not like it, but we did it. But I did go to a conference last month in DC. It was called the Attachment Trauma Network Conference, and my boss invited me along because he knew I was very interested in trauma, and I got to help him, and I actually helped him present at a school a couple months ago. So I could see myself kind of challenging myself and
Mm-hmm.
getting over that fear, because I think that presenting and putting myself out there not only will help people learn about the effects of trauma on students, but would help me grow as a social worker.
Yes, yes, that's awesome. See,
Yeah.
and that's another thing why I feel like this me doing Join You is finding those things about yourself that you never knew about, and
Yeah.
that's like something a weakness that you want to work on, a strength that could help others. Nice, nice.
Definitely. I think we should all have something we're working towards, whether it be a really small goal or a big
Mhm.
goal. It helps make life more meaningful.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Um, One thing if possible that I would like you to share some links, like have you send them to me so that anybody
Okay.
who's looking for any tools for stress relieving, whether it be seeking help or any other sites that you suggest that
Yeah.
send
I
those
can
over.
actually send you the link to St. Anne's. I can send you the link
Okay.
to the Attachment Trauma Network if people want to check that out, and
Okay.
as well as some self-care links and maybe
Nice.
like what is social work 101. But
Okay.
yeah, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to interview me. And
Yeah, thank you so much.
yeah, I anytime. And if anyone has any questions, I would say to reach out to Davia, because she has a wealth of knowledge on social work too. And you know, we'd be happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Anything
thanks.
for me?
What was that?
Any questions for me?
Um, yeah, I think who else, do you have any ideas of other professions or other people who you might want to put on your channel in the future?
I have another person who is a um, exercise coordinator. She
Cool.
different exercise, so I'm looking forward to recording her and kind of
Nice.
talk about her business. Trying to get various occupations. I have a musician. Hopefully, he could do something.
Nice. That's really cool.
Yeah. So,
Well, I think this is a great channel, and I really hope that more people will tune in and check it out.
all right. So make sure you tell your friends, subscribe, and
Yes.
like. And thank you, Kelly, once again.
Yes. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Bye. See you
All
later.
right. Later.